You were told the world is fair, that hard work is rewarded, that virtue wins. You were trained to obey, to serve, to wait. And now you sit in the ruins of those promises, wondering why effort exhausts you, why loyalty isolates you, and why weakness is praised while ambition is punished. You ask, is the system broken? Number. It functions with perfect cruelty. It was built not to lift men, but to break them before they rise. You were never meant to win. You were meant to conform, to doubt yourself, and to die with your potential unused. Understand this. You are not suffering from personal failure. You are colliding with design. The world does not reward strength until it is dangerous. It does not permit change until you seize it. And those who wait for permission will rot before they are crowned. I watched such systems. I studied their mechanics. I advised princes on how to suppress the very instincts you now feel awakening. What you call unfair, I call useful. What you call betrayal, I call necessity. You have been shaped by illusions that served others. Now I will teach you how to serve no one. Not by revolt, not by virtue, but by strategy. When the world calls you mad, selfish, or cruel, it is only proving that you have ceased being manageable. Machiavelli does not offer comfort. I offer clarity. I offer instruction. And I offer the one thing the system fears more than rebellion, a man who can see it, map it, and subvert it without being seen. You were not born broken. You were broken so you would forget what you are capable of. And now that you remember, listen. Everything they've taught you to feel guilty for will become your weapon. Everything they called toxic, selfish, or extreme was simply the nature of power. I will not tell you to fight fair. I will tell you how to win, because survival is not the end. It is the beginning. Let us begin. A prince does not maintain power by accident, nor do institutions endure through benevolence. Power is preserved through design, through systems that train men to accept less than they are capable of, and to defend that submission as wisdom. Look around. What is called education is not the cultivation of intelligence, but the rehearsal of obedience. The school does not reward the bold, the dissident, the cunning. It rewards silence, repetition, and fear of disapproval. You are not taught to question. You are taught to wait, and thus the first chain is fastened, not to your body, but to your perception. What follows is no accident. The man softened by school is shamed by media. He is told that strength is brutality, that confidence is arrogance, that ambition is greed. He is shown heroes who lose nobly and villains who win cruelly, and is then told to choose virtue over victory. But this is a lie. No system that feared power would teach you how to attain it. The stories they feed you are not for your enlightenment. They are tools of containment. The man who questions everything is dangerous. The man who feels guilt for desiring control is defeated before he begins. When such a man reaches the realm of work, his training is complete. He is no longer a man of potential. He is a function, a unit. He wakes, he obeys, he produces, he sleeps. He is paid not for his ambition, but for his endurance. He is rewarded not for vision, but for exhaustion. And if he complains, he is told that he must be grateful, because others have less, because duty is noble, because rebellion is selfish. But ask yourself, who benefits when you are tired, guilty, and silent? I tell you this as one who advised rulers on how to keep men pacified. The illusion of choice is more powerful than any chain. Give a man 2 cages and call it freedom, and he will waste his life debating which to enter. Teach a man that his sacrifice is moral, and he will beg to bleed for your cause. Let him taste small pleasures, bread, titles, brief praise, and he will forget that he once hungered for more. And yet, some men do not forget. They feel the weight of this design. They look upon their peers and see not contentment, but sedation. These men begin to ask dangerous questions. Who built this system? Why must I bend? What if I did not? And from these questions arises a kind of awakening that no prince, no institution, no state desires. I saw this pattern long before your time, in Rome, in Florence, in the church, in every institution that called itself eternal, while secretly fearing its own decay. They all relied on one thing, the predictability of the masses. Because once a man begins to think, not with guilt, but with strategy, he becomes a threat. Thus I say to you, the system is not broken. It is fulfilling its purpose. It trains men to obey, not to create. It rewards the tame, not the brave. And it survives by ensuring that the majority never realize how deeply they have been trained to serve. But you are not the majority, and if you have seen the cage, you are already halfway free. What remains is not to scream, but to study, not to beg, but to watch, because once you understand how obedience is engineered, you can begin to reverse it, not by destruction, but by invisibility. Strategy begins with silence. Most men are not defeated in battle. They are not crushed by tyrants or silenced by war. They are broken long before they ever fight. Their minds are softened by shame, their wills dissolved by guilt, their time stolen by distraction. What appears to be failure is not misfortune. It is the product of deliberate erosion. A man who doubts himself does not need chains. He will leash himself and call it morality. How does this happen? From the beginning, the world teaches men to question their instincts. If he desires mastery, he is told he must first earn approval. If he hungers for greatness, he is warned to be patient, to be humble, to wait his turn. But the world never intends to give him that turn. He is trained to become polite before he becomes dangerous, and by the time he wakes up, he has spent a decade apologizing for his fire. This is not an accident. The system fears uncontrolled ambition. It cannot tolerate the man who acts before he is told, who wants before he is granted permission, who thinks with his own judgment. And so it wages war upon him through invisible weapons: debt, distraction, obligation, shame. The average man is buried beneath them before he is 25. He is not even allowed to compete, only to consume. He is told that to lead is toxic, that to dominate is oppressive, that to want more is to betray his fellow man. And because he has no models of power, only idols of weakness, he begins to believe it. He takes pride in how well he conforms. He speaks the language of progress, but lives the life of stagnation. His courage becomes theoretical. His rebellion becomes theatrical. His strength is filtered through approval. I have seen what this does. In states, it leads to decline. In men, it leads to slow suicide. No empire survives when its men are trained to seek virtue in weakness. And no man survives when his every instinct is filtered through guilt. If you have ever hesitated to speak your mind, to make a demand, to take what you wanted, it was not because you lacked the power. It was because that power was castrated before it could mature. The churches, the schools, the courts, they all collaborate in this process. They smile as they do it. They call it socialization, but it is sterilization. It removes the sharp edges of your mind and replaces them with slogans. It replaces hunger with comfort. It replaces fire with fog. And once you are disoriented, you will thank the very people who robbed you for offering you direction. But hear me. No prince was ever born noble. He became one by acting before others, by risking shame, by rejecting guilt, by choosing clarity over comfort. If you wait for the world to tell you when you are ready, you will die as a servant. If you wait for your emotions to align, you will rot in obedience. Action precedes permission. Power precedes approval. This is the first reversal. To reject the voice that says, "You are not ready. You are not meant to be ready. You are meant to be dangerous." They will call you arrogant. Let them. They called Cesare Borgia arrogant too, and still they feared him. They will call you selfish. Let them. They called Rome selfish when it expanded, and still it ruled. You are not here to be understood. You are here to act. Let others moralize. Let them debate. Let them wait for healing. While they reflect, you will build. While they seek sympathy, you will seek advantage. And while they demand fairness, you will study force. This is not cruelty. This is liberation. Because the man who demands nothing will get nothing, but the man who demands himself, his mind, his time, his will, becomes immune to the system's illusions. I do not pity the weak. I do not mourn the obedient. I only teach the willing. And if you are willing to become feared by the very forces that once ruled you, then you are no longer their victim. You are no longer tame. You are a strategist. And the world, whether it knows it yet or not, will soon be forced to take you seriously. To rule a people, you need only one thing: predictability. A man who can be anticipated can be managed. A man who reacts as expected, who follows the patterns carved into him by custom, education, and fear, he is no threat. He is not a citizen. He is not even a servant. He is an instrument. And the system you live in has perfected the art of making such instruments by the millions. The prince fears not the poor, but the unpredictable. Not the ignorant, but the ungoverned. Why? Because control is not about strength. It is about rhythm. Break the rhythm of obedience, and the illusion collapses. But if a man wakes, eats, speaks, apologizes, and works exactly as he is taught, he will become a machine that polices itself. And that is the dream of every ruler who wishes to maintain power without displaying tyranny. So how is this passivity created? Not with whips, with rewards. Your entertainment dulls your pain. Your social media simulates success. Your language is shaped to disarm your instincts. Toxic, problematic, unacceptable. The stronger your words, the more dangerous they sound. So you choose softness, vagueness, passivity. And soon, you no longer speak as a man. You speak as a subject. This is not accidental. The elite do not want you strong. They want you emotionally exhausted and socially tamed. They teach you to confess your power as guilt. They praise you for apologizing. They give you small pleasures to keep you docile. And when you hesitate to speak out, when you fear judgment, when you wait for consensus, they smile, because they know you will never move against them. But Machiavelli teaches, power is maintained through appearances, not virtue. The church wore the robes of holiness while it bled kingdoms dry. The republics of Florence sang of liberty while gutting their citizens with taxes. The leaders of today promise you safety, freedom, and dignity while ensuring that you have none of these in any form that threatens them. Appearances soothe the herd, they do not fool the strategist. And the worst part is this: the predictable man defends his own cage. He calls it civilization. He praises his own emasculation as growth. He mistakes his cowardice for tolerance. He watches as others rise, and rather than study them, he condemns them, not because they are wrong, but because they remind him of what he gave up. Understand, the system requires your weakness. If you grow strong, it cannot manage you. If you grow cunning, it cannot lie to you. If you grow dangerous, it must either destroy you or fear you. And that, more than anything, is why they begin their conquest of you with shame. They castrate your ambition before you even know it is yours. The elite do not play by the rules they write. They do not confess what they demand you confess. They do not wait while you wait. They act, they scheme, they dominate, and they use your morality against you. They do not fear men who believe in fairness. They fear men who understand leverage. Do not be predictable. Do not explain yourself. Do not apologize for ambition. The man who cannot be predicted becomes the man who cannot be controlled. And the moment you begin to act outside their script, they will call you dangerous. That is how you know you are on the right path. I wrote The Prince not to comfort men, but to expose how princes think. They do not seek justice. They seek order. They do not reward good men. They reward useful ones. And if you are to rise, you must become useful to yourself before you are ever useful to another. This is the truth they conceal with every speech, every policy, every soft deception. They do not want you free. They want you agreeable. They want you profitable. And they want you tired. Break the pattern. Confuse them. Move in silence. Prepare in darkness. And when you strike, do it without warning. That is how you rise in a world that only respects what it cannot predict. There are two kinds of men in every society, not rich and poor, not noble and base, but those who move according to their own nature, and those who are moved by the nature of others. The first are strategists, the second are spectators. One commands, the other obeys, and though they may dress alike, speak alike, even pray alike, beneath the surface they are not the same species. Look at the passive man. He hungers for approval more than power. He fears discomfort more than insignificance. He obeys not because he is convinced, but because he is afraid to stand alone. His morality is not conviction. It is camouflage. He says what others say. He wants what others want. His conscience is borrowed. His courage is conditional. His principles bend at the first gust of pressure. And worst of all, he thinks this makes him good. Now look at the strategist. He is not loud, but his silence is not submission. It is calculation. He watches before acting. He moves with purpose, not impulse. He does not broadcast his goals. He enacts them. He knows that fear governs men more than love, and so he does not beg for affection. He controls perception. He plays roles. But behind them, there is only one aim: to gain power or to prevent its theft. You were told to be good, but the world does not reward the good. It rewards the useful, the cunning, the ruthless. And so long as you cling to ideals that serve no strategic purpose, you will remain among the passive. You will moralize your weakness and call it dignity. You will romanticize suffering and call it depth. You will weep while stronger men take everything you once believed was yours. I say this not to insult you, but to awaken you. The man who cannot betray false ideals cannot break false systems. There is no honor in dying faithful to illusions. If you wish to rise, you must become unrecognizable to those who still sleep. You must be willing to become feared, not because you wish to harm, but because you no longer wish to be harmed. This is the line no institution dares you to cross, to cease being one of them, to become unreadable, to be the man who no longer apologizes, no longer explains, no longer waits. Machiavelli warned, "He who cannot change his nature must be destroyed by those who can." And I tell you now, adaptation is not compromise, it is conquest. The strategist studies his nature as a weapon. He does not suppress his ambition, he sharpens it. He does not deny his anger, he directs it. He does not beg for peace, he prepares for conflict. Because he understands that peace is not given, it is enforced, and respect is not asked for, it is taken. The masses cannot follow you where you are going. Their comfort is their cage. Their hope is their leash. They call you cold because they are warm with delusion. They call you cruel because they cannot conceive of discipline. Let them speak. Let them sleep. You have no duty to their dreams. You are not here to be understood. You are not here to be liked. You are here to become sovereign, and sovereignty begins the moment you abandon the path laid for you by weaker men. Choose your path. One leads to applause, the other leads to control. One leads to acceptance, the other to power. The world has too many good men. It has too few who can rule themselves. Become one, and you will never again ask for permission to act. A prince who shows his plan invites resistance. A man who reveals his truth invites interference. Power is not seized in daylight. It is cultivated in the shadows. The most dangerous man is not the one who shouts. It is the one who watches, who waits, who smiles as he prepares. This is how the system is broken, not with protests or noise, but with reversal of its methods, its morals, and its illusions. The first law is patience, not the patience of slaves, but the patience of hunters. You wait not because you are weak, but because you are calculating. The system wants you impulsive, reactive, emotional. It wants you to respond when provoked, to expose your cards when you are afraid. But you are no longer a spectator. You are not here to react. You are here to observe until the time to act is beyond question. And when you act, it is final. The second law is usefulness, not sincerity, not loyalty. Usefulness. Appear valuable to them, never completely loyal. Make them think they own you while you gather what you need. Let them believe you are harmless. Let them call you reliable. Let them promote you, praise you, fatten you. Then, when the moment comes, exit without warning and leave them wondering if you were ever truly theirs. The third law is cruelty, strategic, total, and rare. Machiavelli taught, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." But he also taught this: cruelty must be done once and thoroughly. A weak man punishes often and softly. A prince punishes once and leaves nothing to recover. You do not lash out. You eliminate threats. You remove obstacles. You act with such force that the memory of your strike becomes a shield. The fourth law is absence. The system expects constant presence, daily participation, perpetual visibility. Refuse it. Your silence should become pressure. Your withdrawal, a question mark. Never be so available that they believe they own your time. Never be so present that your absence is meaningless. Become unpredictable. Become unavailable. That is how you create space for power. The fifth law is detachment. You must learn to stand apart from the mass narratives. Their victories are not yours. Their outrage is not yours. Their values, fears, and dreams, none of these belong to a strategist. You are not here to be aligned with the world. You are here to master it. And mastery begins when you cease emotionally reacting to the games of the herd. These laws are not spoken aloud in polite society. They are whispered in war rooms, practiced by kings, written in blood, and disguised as common wisdom by those who wish to keep you small. They do not want you cold. They want you warm and wasteful. They do not want you calculated. They want you expressive, volatile, exposed. Break this pattern, and you become illegible to them. And what they cannot read, they cannot contain. I have advised princes to smile at their enemies before striking, to reward those they would later remove, to speak of mercy while sharpening the knife. Why? Because control is not achieved by honesty. It is achieved by effect. The world does not care what you meant. It only remembers what you caused. If you wish to subvert this system, learn this. Do not announce your awakening. Do not preach. Do not warn. Smile. Obey. Nod. While you study. While you prepare. while you empty yourself of weakness and build something that no one sees until it is too late to stop. Let the world believe you are still asleep. That is your disguise. That is your armor. And when the time comes, when your preparation is complete, remove the mask, and take what they told you was impossible. A man becomes powerful the moment he ceases to be understood. To be unreadable is to be free from their predictions. To be unbreakable is to be free from their punishments. To be untouchable is to be free from their narratives. If they can name you, they can tame you. If they can explain you, they can dismiss you. If they can define your nature, they can chain your future. So you must become a contradiction, moving, thinking, appearing, disappearing, until they no longer know where to aim. They will beg for your transparency. Refuse. They will demand your emotions, withhold. They will offer comfort in exchange for confession. Stay silent. The world wants to reduce you to a role: employee, citizen, son, partner. The moment you accept the role, you inherit its limits. Instead, be a shifting presence, speak with precision, act with calculation, reveal only what furthers your position. Say less, do more. Your time is your kingdom. Guard it. Do not give it freely to the undeserving. Your mind is your fortress. Fortify it with solitude, study, and contradiction. Train yourself to see 10 moves ahead. The man who reacts is predictable. The man who prepares is feared. Most men seek freedom, but freedom without leverage is illusion. You are not free if you must beg. You are not free if your comfort is dependent on another man's permission. Leverage is the only real liberation. Build it in knowledge, in resources, in reputation, and then never flaunt it. Let it accumulate in silence. Let them underestimate you. They will offer praise to disarm you. They will offer pity to distract you. They will offer inclusion to absorb you. Deny them. You are not here to be included. You are here to be immune. Become the man who cannot be embarrassed, who cannot be blackmailed, who cannot be lured with pleasure or rattled by attack. That man walks through fire untouched because he is made of something the system cannot see and therefore cannot burn. I told the princes of Italy, it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But know this: fear is not rage. It is not chaos. It is not volume. Fear comes from mystery, from control, from the knowledge that you do not play by their rules and that if pressed you will not break. You will vanish or strike. Train your mind to be ungoverned, not in rebellion, but in design. You do not need permission to think in private. You do not need approval to plan in silence. You do not need consensus to act on your own advantage. The man who belongs to himself belongs to no one else, and therefore he becomes a sovereign in a world of dependence. When they ask what you believe, let your results answer. When they ask what you want, let your silence unsettle them. When they ask what you fear, look through them. The strategist lives behind an invisible veil. His steps leave no trace until it is too late. Do not let them interpret you. Do not let them prepare for you. Do not let them summon you with language meant for smaller men. Rise without announcement. Move without echo. Cut without preamble. To become unreadable is to become untouchable. And the world, once it realizes it cannot use you, will either fall silent before you or try to destroy you. Let it try. For by then, you will not be breakable. You will be inevitable. No man escapes the forge. Every mind is shaped, either by its own hand or by the hands of others. Either you carve yourself into a weapon, or you are carved into a tool. There is no neutrality. The man who believes he is simply living is already being molded. By schools, by slogans, by fear, by comfort. He is not free. He is formed, and those who form him have no intention of making him dangerous. The system shapes the weak with pleasure. Not pain. Pleasure. Cheap dopamine. Cheap applause. Cheap victories. It feeds you noise until your thoughts are not your own. It gives you convenience until effort feels impossible. It offers tolerance, not because it respects you, but because it disarms you. Once a man is softened, you need no chains. He will bind himself with the very freedoms he was given. But the strategist sees the forge and takes the hammer. He does not wait to be shaped. He chooses his edge. He endures discomfort because it clears away illusion. He courts solitude because it sharpens vision. He abandons the mass path because he knows that the destination of the many is mediocrity. He does not ask to be saved. He studies how to rule. I wrote that the prince must learn how not to be good, not because goodness is wrong, but because the definition of good is controlled by others. When they shape you through guilt, through false virtue, through appeals to your better nature, they are not appealing to your strength. They are managing you through your weakness. The strategist understands, to shape others, you must master yourself. Your impulses, your language, your reactions, all must be brought under command, not suppressed, directed. The prince does not scream. He speaks when the effect will be permanent. The strategist does not panic. He prepares, because preparation is the foundation of all dominance. And what is dominance? Not brute force, not noise, not visibility. It is the quiet ability to direct outcomes, to bend others without raising a hand, to shift the beliefs of a group without raising your voice. That is true shaping. And it begins with removing yourself from the collective narrative. The average man seeks survival. He wants food, comfort, acceptance. That is his ceiling. But you, if you are listening still, were not born to survive. You were born to command, not through tyranny, through clarity, through vision so sharp it cuts through every lie they ever told you about who you were supposed to be. Understand this. They do not want you to rise. They want you content, comfortable, tamed, and the greatest proof of your power is the effort they have put into your sedation. No one tries to pacify the irrelevant. If they have worked this hard to shape you, it is because they know what you are. And if you are now beginning to see it, then your shaping has already begun. Not by them, by you. You are not the result of their work anymore. You are the end of it. You are the interruption in their pattern, the flaw in their rhythm, and soon, if you stay silent, stay sharp, and stay ruthless, you will not be the shaped. You will be the shaper. You were not broken because you were weak. You were broken because you were rising, because you asked questions they feared, because you refused to kneel, because something in you remembered what it means to rule rather than be ruled, and so they attacked early, before you could see your shape, your power, your reach. They gave you shame. They gave you distraction. They gave you debt, addiction, softness, slogans, not to help you, but to tame you. But now you know. The world was not made to lift you. It was made to contain you. And what they call your failures, your anger, your ambition, your silence, these are not defects. They are the parts of you that resist their shaping, and it is those parts that must now rule. I offer you no comfort, no hope, only this, a path, a way of thinking that does not beg, does not wait, does not submit. Machiavelli does not whisper promises, he delivers knives, to cut illusion, to carve strategy, to sever the leash. The strong must become feared. The ambitious must become unreadable, and the betrayed must become kings. You are not a mistake. You are a threat, once you choose to be.